Hello everyone, today I bring to you a topic that I'm sure nobody has ever asked for, and that is, can a Mongil Star Dive party beat Tearlaments? So what are Tearlaments? They are commonly agreed to be the strongest Yu-Gi-Oh deck of all time, without competition. They feature countless layered interactions of bounces, spins, negates, summon negates, graveyard interaction, and floodgates, and their interaction is split between monsters, spells, and trap cards. All their fusion monsters give them many powerful effects. Their spell cards can interrupt opponents in the effect of their field spell Perla Rhino. And they have trap cards like Tearlaments Soliek and the Ishizu trap card that allows them to interact with trap effects. Tearlaments Rukalos protects their monsters from battle destruction. They have Haveness that allow them to do full combo on their opponent's turn. They have infinite recursion of fusion materials by fusing into their many extra deck monsters, which are powerful toolbox fusions like Grapha, El Shadow Wenda, Predaplant Dragostapelia, Mud Dragon for protection, and of course, the Tearlaments fusion monsters. And of course, they have Haveness, which allows them to do everything. They are also supported by the powerful Ishizu monsters, where Kelbeck and Agito can mill up to 10 cards per turn for both players. Ludora and Keldo hold perfect control over both graveyards and let the player dictate which graveyard resources are available to them and their opponent. They also enable, and is enabled by, the extremely overpowered Herald of Orange Light, which, by sending a fairy-type monster from the hand to the graveyard, allows them to negate the activation of a monster effect and destroy that monster. Now, Tearlaments are not all over-encompassing and overpowered. They do have some weaknesses, and most of their weaknesses in the fact that they are fully reliant on their graveyard. Cards like Abyss Dweller and Dimension Shifter fully shut down that part of the strategy and basically often force them to use Plan B. They're also vulnerable to a well-timed Bistio or DD Crow to interrupt their fusion plays, but outside of that, there are very few ways to truly stop Tearlaments from popping off. Now, what about a Mongil Star Dive party? By D&D rules, a turn is 6 seconds. With that in mind, they have some very powerful things going for them. A Mongil Star Dive party can summon up to multiple Link monsters in one turn with powerful effects like Fiend and Eldorado to reduce defensive ability. Fiend provides a defensive buff that lasts over 2 turns in D&D time, and is extremely powerful for combating the Tearlaments, as we'll see later on. They can cancel their animations using the dash key or swapping to iframe attacks and then make themselves invulnerable to the effects of the Tearlaments. However, this iframe can only be used if the player sees things coming, which are targeted abilities. Because if you've ever played a high-level Rift and encounter a Scar, and you get one tap by him, well, you clearly didn't see that attack coming, so how could you have iframed it? And thirdly, they have the ability to revive dead party members using their food, which is very good, and they can apply supportive buffs to overcome the party members' weaknesses. So what can a Mongil Star Dive party do against Tearlaments? Well, Nare's Bubble and Fiend both apply super armor, and can protect the party members from the bounce and spin effects of the Tearlaments Field Spell and Kaleido Heart. This gives them their much needed protection against the main form of interaction that Tearlaments often rely on. By using 2 level 4 characters, or 2 4-star characters, they can Xyz summon the powerful Abyss Dweller to out the Tearlaments' graveyard strategy. Francis also has the ability to stick her syringe into the ground, effectively activating set rotation, activating a field spell for the Mongil Star Dive player that heals on combat, and turning off the field effects of Perla Rhino. Now, unfortunately, Bistio Magnamut and other options are not available to Mongil Star Dive because Bistio Magnamut is not a Link monster. It is a normal main deck monster, so it cannot be run as a Link. So how would all of this play out? Let's go over a sample duel between a Mongil Star Dive party and a Tearlaments deck. So the Mongil Star Dive party will go first. They start on Francis and switch to Nare, to activate the triggered ability of Fiend to special summon himself onto the field as Chainlink 1. And on swap-in, Nare will activate her skill as Chainlink 2, effectively chain blocking Fiend. If either one of these effects resolve, they will have protection for 2 turns against the effects of the Tearlaments. The Tearlament player responds. First, by activating Herald of Orange Light on the effect of Nare, by sending Agito to the graveyard. Then, as Chainlink 4, they activate Infinite Impermanence, targeting Fiend. The Chainlink resolves backwards. Infinite Impermanence will then negate Fiend's effect on the field, and Herald of Orange Light will negate and destroy Nare. Now, in a new chain, Agito's effect activates, milling the top 5 cards of the Tearlament player's deck. They mill Havness, Merly, Kelbeck, Perlarino, and a Rhino Heart. Legendary mills. In a new chain, they activate Chainlink 1 Merly, Chainlink 2 Kelbeck, opting to keep Rhino Heart in the graveyard and not summon him out. The chain resolve backward. Kelbeck then mills Herald of Orange Light, Havness, Infinite Impermanence, Mudora, and Ash Blossom. Then Chainlink 1 resolves. Merly then fuses with Havness to make Kitkalos and summon Kitkalos to the field. In a new chain, Kitkalos effect will be Chainlink 1, and the new Havness that was just milled will be Chainlink 2, where Kitkalos will add a Havness from the deck to the hand, and Havness in the graveyard will fuse with Kitkalos to make Rukalos to summon to the field. The Tearlaments player then passes priority back to the Mongil Star Dive player, where Francis is forced out onto the field because Nare has died. Francis is then swapped into Ophelia, where Francis' ability to buff Ophelia's attack will be Chainlink 1, and Ophelia will then activate her skill as Chainlink 2 in an attempt to destroy Tearlament's Rukalos. In response, the Tear player activates the Havness they just added to hand as Chainlink 3. In response to that, the Mongil Star Dive player will activate the effect of Red Shadow, which is Ophelia's Link Monster, as Chainlink 4. To respond to that, Rukalos' effect activates to negate the special summon of Red Shadow and destroy it. Seeing an opportunity, the Mongil Star Dive player then activates the quick effect ability of Revival Food, targeting Nare in the graveyard to revive and special summon back to the field. However, the Mongil Star Dive player failed to account for the fact that Mudora was milled to the graveyard. The Tearlament player activates Mudora as Chainlink 7 to shuffle Nare back into the deck and fizzle the effect of the Revival Food. With that, this Chainlink resolves. Mudora shuffles away Nare, who is no longer in the graveyard. This effect fizzles. Rukalos then negates the effect of Red Shadow and sends Tearlament's Rhino Heart to the graveyard. Havness effect then special summons herself and with a special then mills these 3 cards: Perlarino, Scream, and Merly. Ophelia's ability then destroys Rukalos, but Rukalos has an ability to revive herself, so it effectively does nothing, and Francis' effect resolves, buffing the on-field Ophelia. In a new chain, the Rhino Heart that was sent to the graveyard activates his ability to summon himself back to the field, and with it, he sends the Sheeran in hand to graveyard. In the same chain link, actually. Hold on, I messed up. Because Tearlament's Scream and Rhino Hearts were sent in the same chain link, it forms a new chain where he goes Chainlink 1 Rhino Heart, Chainlink 2 Tearlament's Scream. The chain resolves backwards. Tearlament's Scream adds Tearlament's Soliect from the deck to the hand, and the Rhino Heart's effect in the graveyard allows the Tear player to send Sheeran from the hand to the graveyard to special summon Rhino Heart, and it is banished when it leaves the field. So the Tear player summons Rhino Heart to the field. In a new chain, the Sheeran that was just sent to the graveyard now fuses with the Rhino Heart that was already in the graveyard at the start of the duel because it was sent there using the effect of Agito, and fuses with the one in the graveyard to form Tearlament's Kaleido Heart. Kaleido Heart's on-summon effect then targets Ophelia to spin back into the deck, and that effect resolves, which forces Francis out onto the field. With no plays left, the Mongil Star Dive player then passes turn. There should be a Tearlaments Rhino Heart on the field that is not shown here. Now it's the tier player's turn. They draw and go to main phase and activate Primeval Planet Perla-Rhino, whose effect allows them to add one Tearlament monster to hand. In response, the Mongil Star Dive player will activate the effect of Francis to destroy the field spell, and this effect resolves. In a new chain, the tier player will then activate Triple Tactics Talent because the Mongil Star Dive player activated a monster effect. He chooses to take control of a monster your opponent controls, and since this is not target, the Mongil Star Dive player cannot iframe it, and they take control of Francis. Using this Francis, they overlay with the Tearlaments Rhino Heart to make a Time Thief Redoer, and with these 3 monsters on field, it is well over lethal. And in conclusion, Tearlaments strongest.